Welcome back to Trending Update USA. This is Stefan, and today we're diving into one of the most surprising and controversial tennis stories shaping early conversations around the 2026 season, a story that has sent shockwaves through the tennis world, ignited fierce debate among fans, and raised serious questions about loyalty, legacy, and the future balance of power in women's tennis. Serena Williams' former coach, a figure long associated with dominance, discipline, and championship pedigree, has made a stunning move by publicly throwing his support behind a rising Russian player for 2026, while seemingly snubbing some of the biggest names in the modern game, including Coco Gauff, Aryna Sabalenka, and Iga Swiatek. For years, Serena Williams' coaching team was viewed as the gold standard in tennis, a group synonymous with mental toughness, relentless preparation, and an unshakable belief in greatness. Anyone associated with Serena carried instant credibility, and their opinions were treated almost like gospel within tennis circles. That is precisely why this latest endorsement has caused such an uproar. Fans expected praise, or at least acknowledgement, of players like Gauff, Sabalenka, and Swiatek, athletes who have carried women's tennis into a new era with blockbuster rivalries, Grand Slam triumphs, and global star power. Instead, the former Serena coach looked elsewhere, casting his vote of confidence in a Russian player who, while talented, remains far less established at the very top. The timing of the statement could not have been more explosive. With 2026 looming as a pivotal season, many analysts believe women's tennis is on the brink of another major shift. Coco Gauff has been steadily building her legacy, evolving from prodigy to consistent Grand Slam contender and champion. Aryna Sabalenka has transformed raw power into controlled dominance, becoming one of the most feared players on tour. Iga Swiatek, meanwhile, has already built a resume that places her among the elite of her generation, with multiple majors and a level of consistency that recalls the very dominance Serena herself once displayed. Against that backdrop, the decision to back a Russian player over these established stars feels almost like a deliberate provocation. According to sources close to the situation, the former Serena coach believes the Russian player in question represents the future of the sport, someone capable of redefining how women's tennis is played over the next decade. He reportedly praised her tactical intelligence, physical development, and mental resilience, suggesting that by 2026 she could eclipse even the current top tier. What stunned fans most was not just the praise itself, but the absence of comparable admiration for Gauff, Sabalenka, or Swiatek. In an era when these three names dominate headlines, sponsorships, and primetime matches, the silence felt deafening. Social media erupted almost instantly. Supporters of Coco Gauff were quick to point out her achievements at such a young age, arguing that dismissing her potential ignores both her current success and her upward trajectory. Many fans highlighted how Gauff has repeatedly proven herself on the biggest stages, thriving under pressure and showing maturity beyond her years. To them, the snub felt personal, almost dismissive of a player who embodies the future of American tennis and carries immense cultural significance. Sabalenka's fans were equally vocal. They argued that no player has worked harder to refine her game in recent seasons. Once criticized for inconsistency, Sabalenka has silenced doubters with Grand Slam titles and deep runs at nearly every major event. Her supporters see her as the embodiment of evolution, a reminder that raw talent combined with discipline can lead to sustained success. Ignoring her, they say, shows a lack of respect for the journey she has undertaken to reach the top. Then there is Iga Swiatek, whose supporters perhaps reacted with the most disbelief. Swiatek's dominance, particularly on clay but increasingly across all surfaces, has made her the benchmark against which others are measured. Many fans question how anyone connected to Serena Williams, a player who valued consistency and mental strength above all else, could overlook Swiatek's achievements. To them, the endorsement of a less proven Russian player felt like chasing potential while ignoring proven excellence. The geopolitical undertones of the decision also cannot be ignored. In recent years, Russian players have competed under intense scrutiny due to global events beyond the tennis court. Endorsing a Russian athlete so publicly, especially while bypassing globally celebrated stars from other nations, added another layer of controversy. Some critics accused the former coach of deliberately courting attention, while others suggested he was making a statement about separating sport from politics. Either way, the reaction was swift and intense. From an analytical standpoint, the move raises fascinating questions about how greatness is identified in modern tennis. Is it about what a player has already accomplished, or about what they might become? Serena Williams herself was once a young talent who defied expectations and disrupted established hierarchies. Perhaps her former coach sees echoes of that disruptive potential in this Russian player. Perhaps he believes that by 2026, the landscape will look dramatically different, with new stars rising as current champions face the physical and mental toll of years at the top. Still, critics argue that such predictions should be balanced with respect for those who have already delivered. Gauff, Sabalenka, and Swiatek are not hypothetical talents, they are proven winners. Their rivalries have driven record viewership, packed stadiums, and reignited global interest in women's tennis. To overlook them risks alienating fans who see these players as the heart of the sport's present and future. Insiders suggest that this endorsement could have ripple effects beyond mere headlines. Coaching opinions influence sponsorships, media narratives, and even the confidence of players themselves. While champions often thrive on doubt, public snubs from respected figures can still sting. How Gauff, Sabalenka, and Swiatek respond, both on and off the court, will be closely watched. Will this fuel their motivation heading into 2026? Or will it simply be dismissed as another opinion in a sport full of them? Interestingly, some analysts believe the controversy could ultimately benefit women's tennis. Rivalries thrive on tension, and narratives of disrespect or doubt often produce compelling storylines. A future showdown between the endorsed Russian player and one of the snubbed stars could become must-watch television, fueled by the backstory of this controversial endorsement. In that sense, the former Serena coach may have inadvertently added gasoline to an already blazing competitive fire. As for the coach himself, those who know him describe a figure unafraid of unpopular opinions. Throughout his career, he has valued discipline, hunger, and an almost ruthless pursuit of improvement. If he truly believes this Russian player embodies those traits more than anyone else, then his endorsement, while shocking, is consistent with his reputation for blunt honesty. The problem, critics argue, is not his belief, but the way it was expressed, seemingly at the expense of acknowledging others' greatness. Looking ahead to 2026, one thing is certain, this story is far from over. Every match involving Gauff, Sabalenka, Swiatek, or the Russian player will now be viewed through the lens of this controversy. Wins will be seen as statements, losses as fuel for debate. Fans will remember who was backed and who was overlooked. And in a sport where confidence and perception matter as much as skill, those narratives can shape entire seasons. For Coco Gauff, this could be another chapter in her ongoing journey of proving doubters wrong. For Aryna Sabalenka, it may reinforce her belief that her best tennis is still ahead. For Iga Swiatek, it could simply be another reminder that even dominance does not guarantee universal recognition. And for the Russian player at the center of it all, the pressure will be immense. Being labeled the future brings expectations that can elevate or overwhelm. Ultimately, tennis has always thrived on debate. From arguments about the greatest of all time to predictions about the next superstar, disagreement fuels passion. Serena Williams herself was no stranger to controversy, yet she used it as fuel to build one of the greatest careers in sports history. Perhaps her former coach believes he is witnessing the early stages of another such journey. Or perhaps history will prove that he underestimated the champions already standing at the top. As we move closer to the 2026 season, fans around the world will be watching closely, not just for trophies, but for vindication. Will the snubbed stars respond with dominance? Will the endorsed Russian player rise to the challenge and justify the bold prediction? One thing is guaranteed, women's tennis is entering a period of intense scrutiny, drama, and excitement, and every rally, every handshake, and every headline will carry extra weight. This is why stories like this matter. They remind us that tennis is not just about forehands and backhands, but about belief, perception, and the courage to challenge consensus. Whether you agree with the former Serena coach or not, his words have sparked a conversation that will echo through the sport for years to come. And here on Trending Update USA, we'll be following every twist of this unfolding saga. This is Stefan, and we'll see you in the next update.